So initially we were gonna talk about pregame routine, but I don't want to talk about that quite yet. So we might do that next week. What we're gonna talk about first of all is some of you guys, say maybe half of you guys, have been sending me some stuff that you guys have been doing at home. So that's good to see. If you send me what you're doing and then there's corrections to be made, then I can help you guys with that. Like Scheller sent me him doing the RVH recovery footwork drills, and we had to make a little bit of corrections. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, so what we're gonna talk about today is we're gonna talk about owning it. Okay, and this kind of goes back to what our talk was yesterday, or sorry, last week, about just what have you guys been doing and making sure that we're not getting outworked, right? And we're putting in the effort and the time, and just making sure that you're using this time to prepare for the fall. Because like I said last week, we haven't even come to the part of the off season where you guys would be skating yet, but this is the biggest time for where we would be kind of building that momentum and getting ready to kind of get under a barbell or get into some battle stuff on the ice, where you're preparing yourself and you're preparing your body for kind of the heavy work that we do in the first half of the summer. And if you guys aren't ready for that, if we start May 28th or whenever we're kind of scheduled to start, and you guys haven't been doing anything at home, that first 6 weeks of the off season is going to bury you. Right? So you kind of need to get a running start and make sure that your body is ready to adapt to the work that we're going to put in. So I just want to do this quick little presentation. It's not a presentation, just a talk about owning it and what owning it means and kind of my interpretation of owning it. And I kind of went through this last night, and someone asked me, they goes, so when you played, didn't you work hard? And my answer was simple. It was, no, I didn't. I didn't do anything extra. I didn't work that hard in practice. I didn't care about my nutrition. I wasn't working out. I wasn't doing hand-eye. I wasn't watching game tape. I did almost nothing other than I showed up to practice. I went through the motions, and then I tried to turn it on in games. And that's why I'm now here and I'm not playing anywhere. So someone said, well, why didn't you do more? And my answer was, I thought I was working hard. I thought the things that I was doing was enough for me to improve, get better, and get to the next level. And it wasn't. And I didn't have a goalie coach like me and Jamie are doing for you guys that called me out on my bullshit and said, you're not working hard. I thought I was doing what I needed to do, and I was wrong. So I don't want to say that you guys are lucky to have us, but understand that I'm going to call you out on your bullshit. And if you're not doing the stuff that I think you should be doing, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to be straight up. I'm going to be honest with you. And if you guys don't like that or can't take that, then you don't have what it takes to get to the NHL. Because I think there's 20 goalies on this call right now, or 18 goalies on this call. And in my opinion, if you took the time out of your day to get on this call and listen to what we have to say, then you guys are invested and you guys want to make the NHL. And then we're going to talk to you based off of that perception. And don't get me wrong, like I think every single person on here, if I ask you, you guys would all think you're working hard. But I want you guys to know that there's another level. So that's what we're going to talk about. So owning it. What is owning it? And there's a reason that these first two slides have a picture of Jamie. Because above and beyond everything else, Jamie was a guy that he put everything he had into it because, and you've heard him say this before, because he wasn't that good. His skill set wasn't the best. He wasn't the fastest. His hands weren't the best. He didn't have the best technique. He wasn't the best slider. None of those things, if you put him side by side beside other guys who played in the NHL or played in the AHL, he was not in the top half of probably any of those things. So he had to outwork everybody. And there's a reason that he's in on this, and there's a reason that he's coaching you guys, is because he did what he did in his career with having an average skill set, because he owned it, right? And if you read that at the very top, difference between people that blow up and the people that stagnant is they don't own it. How many of you guys, after a game, use words they, he, she? All of you. Oh, he turned it over. She didn't back check. The referee, my coach. How many of you guys use the word I after a game? It's not about they, he, and she. It's about I, right? Because everybody's heard the cliche winners win. Who hasn't heard that? Everybody's heard winners win. It's not science. There's not a scientific method to winning. They just know how to win. Somebody's going to win. Somebody's going to lose. Someone's going to get drafted. Someone's going to get signed. Someone's going to get a scholarship. And then the other 90% of the guys out there are going to be just another guy that played the game. Don't be a guy that just played the game. Tom Brady, Kobe Bryant, Sidney Crosby. Guys that all won. When they win, you see them on TV, they're holding the trophy. You see them celebrate, but they don't celebrate very long because what happens? They get back to work and they go and they win again. There's no excuse for not living up to your potential. And that goes for every single person in here. We can push you, but unless you guys do it yourself and stop making those excuses, you're not ever going to live up to that potential. And that's why it says at the bottom, avoid being your own enemy. What are some things that you guys can think of that are going to create that environment where you are your own enemy? Like, throw them out.
Nutrition.
Being prepared.
Being prepared. What else?
Negative self-talk.
Okay, so talk about that. That's a good one. Talk more on that one, Mary.
Like when you're either like, even if you are like working hard or whatever, just like always critiquing yourself on little things and like just telling yourself you're bad when you should be reinforcing like good things and always trying to stay positive type of thing.
So we're going to jump in on that. So what Harry's bringing up to the table is a good point, negative self-talk. But negative self-talk can go both ways. So you can have negative self-talk that beats you down, or you can or you can have a negative self-talk with a positive connotation. So what that means is, say for myself, for example, I want to be a better skater. I know that I'm not a great skater. So instead of me saying, Jamie, you're garbage, you're a bad skater, you're terrible, you'll never be good. It was, I'm not a good skater. I'm going to get better. I'm going to do the things to get better. And to take a positive thought and to put that into, take a negative thought and put that into a positive mindset. And that's how you avoid that negative self-talk. Like when you get scored on, how many of us get scored on? And the first thing that comes to our mind is we swear. Probably a lot of us. Okay. So instead of that negative word, most likely the F word, instead of us saying that and swearing out loud, if we go, okay, what happened? Oh, I was off my angle. All right, next one, I'm on my angle. Nothing's getting by me the rest of the game. So that's really important. So it's okay to be able to self-evaluate and know where you're weak. But if you just dwell on that weakness for the sake of it being a weakness, that's where there's issues. If you acknowledge that weakness and then you turn that into a growth mindset, like I'm going to get better, I'm going to turn this weakness into a positive, that's how you get away out of the rabbit hole that's a negative mindset into a positive mindset, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's everything you said comes back to owning it. I'm off my angle. That is what we talked about, saying I or my. He's owning the mistake that he's off the angle. I'm not a good skater. I need to get better at it. When we talk about others, they, he, she, and now we're starting to make excuses. And excuses are lies. I'm too tired, or I'm sore, or the coach doesn't like me. They're all lies. Excuses always sound best to the person that's making them up. And you are making up excuses why you're not going to the gym. Or you're making up excuses of why you're not doing the yoga or the hand speed or the foot drills, or you're watching an NHL game because you're trying to develop your ability to read and react from the play. Every time you make an excuse, you are lying to yourself and you are lying to your potential. The only person those excuses sound good to is you. I'm too tired. Bullshit. That's a lie. I'm too busy. That's bullshit. That's a lie. There's nobody on this call that is more busy than I am. And I'm still here and I'm still doing this for you guys and I'm putting up free crap for you guys. So if you're telling me that you're too busy, you're so full of shit. This one's a good one. I don't have any space to do hand-eye drills. How do you not have a room that's 4 feet big to do a hand-eye drill? The internet has over 1 million hand-eye drills. You can find something that will make you better in limited space. It doesn't have to be the stuff that we put up for you guys. It's too hard. I don't have access. I don't have money. How much money does it cost to go and run a hill?
$0.
$0. Maybe the hill's too far away from you. Okay, take a bus. Bus costs $1.25. If there's a guy in this chat that needs me to give them $1.25, text me. I will e-transfer you $1.25 if you can't get on a bus. If you don't have email transfers, call me. I'll pick you up. I'll drive you the goddamn hill. There's no possible way that you can tell me that you don't have enough money to run a hill. It's too cold. It's too hot. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Every time you lie to yourself or make an excuse to not do something, you are letting the guy beside you take your job. Simple. Discipline equals freedom. You guys know what that means?
No.
No? Jamie, you're reading the book. You want to tell them what that means?
It's the way Jocko Willink breaks it down is very extensive, but basically it just means if you are in control of your actions and you're in control of your thoughts, that's the only way that you can actually be free. Otherwise, you're living under other people's rules, or for this case, you're living under your own lies and excuses, and so you're not in control.
Everybody here is playing a high level hockey. Everybody. If you're playing single A hockey or higher, to me that's considered elite. You are all elite goalies. You are all been told that you guys have been great. Your parents do everything for you. You guys don't know what it's like to have to grind. And what we're preparing you for is those years when you're 17 to 22 and you living in some random person's basement, having to fight for dinner. And some of you guys have already done this. Scheller's done this. McGovern's done this. Harry, you've billeted. Cookie, you billeted. These guys know. These guys have already done this billeting thing. But we're trying to prepare you for when you don't have mom and dad. Because right now, mom and dad do everything for you. And when you get out of the house and you have to now balance playing hockey, going to school, and living on your own, it's going to slap you in the head. And for the guys that have already done it, you guys haven't done it while you're trying to play Division I hockey yet. You might have done it. You might be doing a course online, or you might have done high school. You get to Division I hockey and you have to balance everything else. It's going to slap you in the head. Some days you will be tired, and some days you will be sore and you'll be angry. Winners will do it anyway. And I say this all the time, and Cookie jokes about this all the time because I always say it, but it's 100% true. Winners win and losers lose. It's not science, guys. Get up. Wake your ass up and get to work. Will Smith. Everybody knows who Will Smith is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. He's got it. There's a great video he's got on YouTube. It's called I Will Die on a Treadmill. And basically he says if you put him beside another guy on a treadmill, he will die on that treadmill before he lets that guy outwork him. He's not going to use any of these excuses. I'm too tired. I'm too busy. I have no space. I'm going to die on a treadmill because I'm going to outwork that guy beside me. And there's no way that guy is going to beat me. And that is the way you need to think about your work ethic if you want to get to the levels that you should be getting to. And I don't think there's a person in this chat that can't play at the highest level possible, whether it's college hockey, NHL, or pro. And for Charlotte, I think Charlotte's the only girl in here that's Division I hockey. And then whether it's whatever that pro league is going to look like by the time you get there, Charlotte. Patrick Waugh won a Stanley Cup in 1986. He was 20 years old. He came in, he stole the job from whoever the number one guy was, and carried the Montreal Canadiens to a Stanley Cup. Now, half of you guys are like, 1986. Why are you talking about 1986? I wasn't even alive. Okay, Matt Murray did it 5 years ago. From the minors, came in, stole Marc-Andre Fleury's job, won 2 Stanley Cups. 2, back-to-back. Guy won a Stanley Cup before he was a rookie in the league. Okay, how about Jordan Binnington? He was an afterthought with St. Louis. And he just willed himself, and what happened last year? Wins the Stanley Cup. And you know what I saw yesterday? I saw a projection for Team Canada Olympic team. Who was the number one goalie on that team in that projection? Jordan Binnington. These guys have gone through this. These guys could have had excuses. These guys could have whined. Oh, I'm never going to get the net. Marc-Andre Fleury's a Hall of Famer. Matt Murray went in, took the net, won 2 Stanley Cups. Go listen to that Spit and Chicklets podcast with Jordan Binnington. Texted the GM of St. Louis and says, you better make room because I'm coming. And he did. You need to surround yourself with people that are going to push you to get you there. And I'm going to push you guys until you tell me you don't want it anymore. The day you come to me and say, yeah, Booch, you know what? I don't want it anymore. Then you won't get these conversations with me anymore. We'll have a beer, we'll hang out, we'll go golfing, and I won't push you and I won't push you. But until you tell me to stop pushing, I'm going to keep pushing you guys. If you look at the last 5 text messages on your phone, everybody in here's got a phone. If you look at the last 5 text messages on your phone, are those people feeding your flame, or are those people throwing logs on it, or are they pissing on it? You know what? And that sounds bad, but the last 5 people you text, are those people pushing you and being an asset to your career, or are they guys like, hey, don't work out, let's go to a party, or hey, let's play Fortnite till 4 o'clock in the morning? You need to surround yourself with people that are going to have your best interests in mind. There's a saying, you are the average of the top 5 people that you associate with the most. So if you take the 5 people when you're 13, it's usually your parents and your grandparents and your brothers and your sisters. But as you guys get older and you're into junior hockey and you're kind of on your own doing your own thing, you are the average of the 5 people you most associate with. So think about who those 5 people are right now. And are those 5 people going to be the 5 people that get you to where you want to go? Cookie?
Well, I kind of stopped hanging out with my friends because that's what was happening.
So I'm going to tell you a little story about Cookie. So Cookie played his rookie year in Fort Erie for the Fort Erie Meteors. He billeted it as a 17-year-old. If he surrounded himself with guys that wanted to get better, pushed him to get better, that pretty good year could have been phenomenal. Could have been phenomenal. We had this conversation with Cookie. It isn't news to him. We've already talked about this. We've already laid it all on the table, and he knew that what he did in his rookie year wasn't good enough. So exactly, he stopped hanging out with those guys. We moved into a different team. He skated every week this year. He came in every week, skated. He did all the shit he had to do, and he led the league in goals against, led the league in save percentage, or top 3 or 4 anyways. Playoff shutout. He did all the stuff he had to do because he was aware that he was making bad choices. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Because if you're not surrounding yourself with the right people, it's going to affect you. If you want to go from average to phenomenal, you need to surround yourself with leaders. It's plain and simple. You are the biggest asset. So you need to invest in yourself. And investing in yourself, you're going to have to make tough choices. Is it, I got to go to the gym in the morning. Do I want to go to this party and I might be out till 11 o'clock and there might be some drinking? Or do I want to, maybe have a good dinner, get some rest so that I can get up and get to the gym and put in a good workout? These are decisions and sacrifices that you're going to have to make. It's okay if you don't want to do this. If you don't want to put in the work, and if you don't want to be the guy that chooses to skip the school dance to go to practice, that's okay. Just don't pretend like you want it. Is there anything anybody wants to add to that? Scheller?
No, yeah, I mean, kind of the same thing where I went from, when mom and dad making me food or doing my laundry every day to living in a basement in Flin Flon, Manitoba with another guy basically on our own to do what we needed to do. And me, it was honestly a bit of a wake-up call. Like when I got out there and I saw that, like, I'm basically on my own out here. Like, it's me and my roommate, and it was almost all right, welcome to not being almost cradled by your parents every day sort of thing. And
for you guys that are younger, sorry to cut you off.
I was just gonna say, yeah, it's a good wake-up call. Like, it's helped me a lot sort of thing.
So the older guys, you guys that are 01s, your guys' path was cut out by Jamie and then Slobo right before you guys. For you guys behind them, the 04s and the 03s, the 04s, the 05s, you guys, your path is now getting cut out by Harris and Shell and Cookie and McGovern. Those guys are laying the foundation for you guys because it's the way it works. And then the guys after them, Hayden, Brett, Charlotte, is there another 06 that I'm missing on here? Stevens in 05, and then Lucas. those 05s and 04s are the guys that are cutting that out for you guys. So it's constantly a progression. This goes back. This is what we're preparing you guys for. And this is what we've been preparing Scheller, McGovern, and Cookie and Harry for the last 2.5 years, was for when they move out on their own and they have to sink or swim. At the end of the day, if you guys are 19 years old and playing junior hockey and enjoying the game, then I've done my job. My job is to keep you guys out of prison, right? Stay out of jail, get your shit together, make sure your grades are good. And when you're 25 years old and you have a full-time job and a career and you're a good citizen, then that is the most proud I will ever be. And I'm going to keep pushing you guys, and I'm going to stay on you all the time because I didn't have that. And every time I talk about my career was dog shit. I didn't have a career because I was not smart enough to realize it. And if I had somebody that would have pushed me and told me and called me on all my bullshit, maybe I would have played at a higher level and I would have been able to play pro hockey. But I didn't. My goalie coaches didn't give a shit about me. I was just somebody that was paying their mortgage. That's it. And for you guys, I hope you never ever feel like that with me and Jamie or even Jeff, right? Or Matt, whoever else you guys skate with when you guys come here. Because the fact that we're talking to you guys, I hope you guys realize how much we care about you and how we are invested in you guys just as much as you guys should be invested in yourselves. Anything else? Where's Hayden? Anything you want to add, Hayden? No? Keegan?
No, those were actually kind of eye openers for me for my future though. So gotta start kind of considering.
Yeah,
some
so
of that
you
stuff.
03s and 04s, you guys are the guys that are knocking on the door, right? You guys, so it's the 01s. You're going to be your third year playing junior for the 01s.
Yeah.
So you guys all played a year of midget. So basically this time next year, you're in their situation. You're in their shoes, Keegan, as an 04 and DeLuca as an 04. There's Benny. Like Benny's going through this right now. We talk a couple times a week, trying to find locations for teams. He might be in a situation where I might have to have a chat and say, hey, we might need to bill it next year. So he's going to have to be prepared for that. We don't know. Right. But we'll see. We'll see kind of where it goes. And I don't know, Benny, you're going to be prepared if it's like, hey, guess what? You're moving to Kirkland Lake and you're going to play junior A in the Noge.
I'm okay with like cooking and that kind of, but it'd just be a hard adjustment because you like wouldn't see all your friends or just people that you go to school with or
Your teammates are your friends.
Yeah.
No, but to take a serious note for that, it is a big step when you have to move away, and very few of us hockey players are fortunate enough to play in our hometowns all the way up until you go to college, you go to pro. It's part of the hockey experience is that there's a possibility you have to go and bill it, and it's hard, and it's easy for everyone to say, oh, you just gas your friends, but you guys all know that it was difficult for you guys to go and bill it for the first time. And as you heard from Cookie and Jack, there's struggles. There's struggles everyone faces, and that's okay, and it's normal. And it's okay to be a little scared or a little nervous. But it's one of those things that it's part of the journey. And if you really want to go on and give yourself the best opportunity to have a career in hockey or get your school paid for or whatever your goal might be, then you have to be willing to accept the risks and basically just jump into the deep end sometimes. And that's why we're all here, the Derek, myself, your parents, like everyone included, and everyone in this group, the older guys, we're all here as resources for you to ask questions if you don't know. That's the whole point of what we do for you guys, and what Derek sets up and he organizes all these things is that when you go off to do these, to move somewhere else, or you've lost 10 games in a row or this or that, we're here to answer your questions because either myself has gone through it, Derek has had countless goalies who have gone through it, or the other older guys in this group are currently going through all the challenges they are facing now. So it's okay to be nervous and worried about moving away, but it is a necessary thing to do if you want to give yourself the best chance to succeed.
So one thing that I want to say is, so the 01s on here, when they were coming up, these are the guys that would look up to guys like Ethan and guys like Jamie, right? And then now those guys are in that spot where all the younger guys on this, like on this call, so Harry, McGovern, Shell, Cookie, you guys are now in that position where all these younger guys are looking up to you guys, right?
Absolutely.
And then DeLuca, Keegan, Steven, Reed, and Benny, those guys that are the 06s, those, you are going to be those guys. You're going to be the guys that those guys are looking up to. And then Hayden and Woodley and Charlotte, like Lucas is on here somewhere. I don't know if I can see him. There's Lucas, right? Lucas is an 08. You guys are going to be the guys that he's looking at. So make sure that you guys are leading by example for the guys that are coming up after you guys, and make sure that, number one, give them the time of day, because when you guys were 12 and 13 years old, if Jamie or Slobo blew you guys off, right, because they had the attitude that, oh, I'm just a guy that plays, you guys got to understand who you are to those younger guys. Make sure that you're skating with one of these guys, you're skating with a younger goalie. You're not just blowing them off. You're helping them as much as you can help them, but you're also building that family, because as much as you're all goalies and we're all individual, we're trying to make this a family, and we're all doing this together, because when one guy succeeds, we all succeed. And there's 3 or 4 guys on this that I know in 10 years are probably going to be coaching with me, just like Jamie does now. So make sure that you guys are learning from each other. You guys are helping. There's already a couple of you guys where I'll step out of the class and say, hey, you got the first 5 minutes, run a drill here. Or, hey, help this guy. Or I'm asked, like, Reed, you've been doing it. Cookie's been doing it. Shell's been doing it. Harry can't hit the net, so I don't let him do it. So, but understand that even if you're skating with the younger guys, a good way for you guys to learn the game is to watch and help those guys. Because how do you think I got better at coaching? I got better at coaching by learning and screwing up. And me and Jamie we screwed up for 3-4 years before we figured out anything that worked at all. Kid wanted to do Swedish duck walks for 3 months. So learn as much as you can by helping the younger guys, and make sure that you older guys, and that goes, everybody's an older guy because there's always somebody coming after you. You guys are always making sure you give those younger guys the time of day, because just like you're looking up to the older guys, those guys are looking up to you. So next week, same time, and we will definitely talk about some pregame routine and why it's important. And I know some of you guys have said already, so maybe the 01 guys, maybe you guys can be a little bit more involved and have some ideas for the younger guys, what they can do and kind of what's worked for you, but more importantly, what you guys have done in the past, maybe that hasn't worked. Right? We always talk about what we do, but let's talk about some stuff maybe that you guys have done that, you know, just didn't work, and how you've had to kind of read and react and adapt on that. All right?
All right.
All right.